1. I passed the job interview with flying colors. The lady interviewing me told me that they're quite understaffed, which tells me that I'm most likely going to get the job. The first couple of weeks went fine, until I saw how the head chef was treating the people around him, from the kitchen hands to the waiters and bartenders. From his attitude, I knew he was the head chef. Nobody needed to tell me what position he's in. This company offers bookings for events such as weddings, conference meetings, etc. I basically worked in the events department. Our team was very small. It consisted of just me and my manager. My manager was also new to the position, and she did an amazing job learning how to handle bookings, and she learned pretty quickly. I didn't need that much training because I worked in hospitality for 3 years, and so I got comfortable quickly. Throughout all of my jobs, I never got along with some chefs. Some of them had terrible attitudes, and it seems like they're trying really hard to imitate Gordon Ramsay and think that's how kitchens are supposed to be run. But it doesn't have to be like that. The first incident I had with the head chef was when I didn't know where the flowers for a wedding were located, because I was quite new to the job. My new manager didn't know either. Head chef comes along and starts yelling orders at us.
Go and find it. What are you doing?
Both me and my manager told him that we're both new and we don't know where the flowers are stored. He starts lecturing us about how the previous employee did all the work herself. I hated his attitude. He's expecting us to know everything when we just started working here. I proceeded to just ignore it and thought maybe he's having a bad day. Someone who's rough on the edges. Another incident occurred when I simply walked into the kitchen to ask the head chef about some people who had dietary requirements. And he just started yelling at me.
What do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? What are you doing in my kitchen?
Now I know that they're busy cooking and doing their job in the kitchen, and I shouldn't disturb them. But I also have a job to do. My job is to make sure everybody is served properly, especially those people who have dietary requirements. So it's necessary for me to communicate with the kitchen often. You're probably wondering, why not just leave the special order in the docket? Events are run differently, dietary requirements are placed in the booking sheet. It's the client's job to put all dietary requirements in the form so that the kitchen can prepare for the event. Sometimes the client forgets to write a person's dietary requirement and will tell us last minute or during the event. I know that the kitchen can quickly make something gluten-free or vegetarian in a jiffy. But whenever I tell the chef, can you guys make something vegetarian? Client forgot to put it in the sheet and told me just now. He just starts complaining and blaming me, saying things like,
Well, if you're telling me this now, why wasn't it on the sheet? Are you serious?
It's almost like he didn't listen to a thing I said, so I said again, the client forgot to put it in, so I'm telling you now, can you make a vegetarian dish? All that arguing, all for him to say,
Yeah, I'll make something real quick.
Are you kidding me? What was the point of all that arguing if you're gonna make the vegetarian dish anyway? Later, the kitchen needed help sending out food, so I went to the kitchen and asked, What are we serving tonight? Head chef says,
You should know this already. I'm not telling you shit.
Okay, that's my fault for not checking the event sheet. Sorry, but damn, that attitude is annoying. My manager says to me, My shift ends at 6 p.m. Here's the event sheet. Look after the event. Good luck. Make sure the photographers eat dinner too. I said no problem. I'm not the event coordinator, but I'll do my best. Just follow the schedule and I should be fine. All the guests at the wedding are getting food served to their table, and now that just leaves the photographers. I go into the kitchen and ask the chef, My manager says the photographers need dinner too. Do we have any more food? He says,
Nobody told me about no effing photographers. Why the hell you telling me this now?
I just got fed up and said, Well, I'm fucking telling you now. He makes food for the photographers anyway, and I wonder, why do we keep just working together? We all know that things happen and things change in this industry. The absolute final straw for me was when I noticed the DJ for the event had no food the whole event, and I felt bad for her. I asked her if she would like something to eat. She said yes. Tells me that she hasn't had any food the whole day and she's starving. I go into the kitchen and see that we have so much spare food that would have been wasted and thrown away. I didn't want to waste food, and asked Chef if we can have one more plate of food for the DJ. He starts getting mad again.
You told me about the photographers, but nobody told me about no effing DJ.
I got so mad and yelled back, fuck it, she can starve then, I don't care anymore. He then starts ordering his apprentice chef to quickly make a plate of food for the DJ. Once again, we had to bicker just for a few extra plates of food, and I was so pissed off that night. I worked my ass off behind the bar and made around $3,500 worth of profit from just selling alcohol that night, and this is the kind of treatment I get? I sent in my notice and quit. I was a casual employee, so I didn't need to stay for 2 or 3 weeks for them to find someone new, so I can leave whenever I wanted. I've always had bad experiences with chefs in higher positions, and I understand it's stressful working in a busy kitchen, but we waiters and bartenders are busy too. I've been told sometimes, maybe this industry isn't for you, suck it up. That's just how chefs usually are. That's just how it's always been. It doesn't need to be like that, though. I'm not sorry for standing up for myself. At the end of the day, we're all working to make money, so don't make others' lives harder than it needs to be. I still can't understand why some people insist on defending this kind of tyrant behavior. 2. I have a coworker who always wants to hug and be close to everyone, basically very needy. I personally hate physical touch, which I have expressed. On top of this, she is always correcting every little thing I do wrong. I appreciate the so-called coaching, but it's so repetitive I feel like it's harassment at a certain point. If I don't answer right away, she'll keep saying my name, or ask the same thing over and over. I could be taking an order, and if I don't answer her right away, she gets upset. I expressed to my manager that I was feeling uncomfortable. She said maybe this person doesn't know this about you. I said about a week ago, this person made a joke right in front of her, that she knows I hate being touched, but she likes to hug me because she thinks I need it. My manager didn't say much. I also told her how this same person will throw shady comments if she's trying to be funny and no one laughs. I will acknowledge the joke, but I can't force a laugh. She thought this was rude, and also rude to let my coworker know that when she hugs me and says my name repeatedly, it stresses me out. Then she says, "Last week you told me you liked being here, so what is it? You're uncomfortable or you like your job?" I said I can still like my job despite one person making me feel uncomfortable. But I do have bills to pay, so I'll make the best out of my job. She told me because I've brought issues up to her in the past about coworkers who've all quit, she didn't want to basically look too much into it. I said, okay, then I'm not going to come to you when I'm having issues because you aren't hearing me out. She told me I will no longer be a shift supervisor if I don't talk to her about my issues with coworkers. This turned into a convo about how I need to learn to set a welcoming environment and be more open to learning people's different personalities. Also, that I need to be more present. Other coworkers have noticed a specific coworker always on my case or being sarcastic towards me. I'm not sure if I'm genuinely in the wrong, or if I should reach out to my DM for more support. After this talk, I went up from my lunch and was talking to another coworker, not related to the convo, and she comes storming up and says, "If you have something to say about the topic, come say it in the back, but stop gossiping." I said we aren't gossiping, or even talking about the topic, and she says, "Okay, well, stop gossiping," and walks away. Not sure if this is as inappropriate as it came off, but I could definitely tell she was feeling some type of way to come up and say that. 3. So this took place a couple of years ago in the heat of the pandemic. I work at a popular pub in a big town. During the pandemic, we were careful to space out everything, sanitize heavily, and wear masks. Now enter the guests. It's a man, his wife, and his daughter. To give a brief description of the main perp, the man was obviously a cop, complete with crew cut, stiff posture, and outfit that said, "I'm off the clock, but I'm still a cop." They took their seats, and I approached with my typical greetings. They ordered some drinks, and I asked the daughter for her ID. She sinks a little and says, I forgot it at home. Code for I'm a minor. I apologize and say that I can't serve her. Parents are aghast. Really? She's with her parents. She can't have a drink?
I can vouch that she's of age.
I'm sorry, folks. I legally can't serve her without proof. At this point, the man loudly scoffs and smirks at me while reaching for his wallet. He asks,
This mean anything to you?
While flashing me his badge. This guy really just tried to extort me for beer for his underage daughter? No, that doesn't mean anything to me, I replied.
Really? Nothing? Pull down that mask and let me see your face.
At this point, I already know my tip is gone. I'm sorry, sir, we're in a pandemic with a mask mandate, and we take that pretty seriously here.
Jesus, you got a manager I can talk to?
I walk off and go find my boss and let her know what's going on. She listens to my story and says, This guy sounds like a fucking asshole. I watch her from afar as the man waves his hands around. The woman sits in disbelief that we won't serve her daughter, and the daughter becomes flushed, with a dark shade of red embarrassment. They hash it out for about 5 minutes, while my coworkers and I try our hardest not to stare at the meltdown this middle-aged police officer is having over his server not illegally serving his daughter a drink. My manager returns and says, Fuck those people. We'll give them dinner, but that girl isn't drinking. If they say anything else to you, tell me and they're out. I can't believe that guy's a cop. While we're laughing at how ridiculous the situation is, a man from another one of my tables walks up behind us and interrupts. Hi, FOP is my server too, and he's great. That dude is an asshole. The rest of the meal was tense and awkward. The parents were fuming, and the daughter seemed like she wanted nothing more than to leave. Nobody would look at me any time I approached, and I kept my service pretty stiff and formal. The cop asked me a few more questions about my name, who my parents are, and what part of town I live in, but I danced around them and avoided answering anything personal. As expected, no tip. Feels a little ironic here that I did the protecting and serving there that evening. 4. To fill you all in, our system has been down for 4 days. We suspect a hacker, but management won't say a word, and we're back to writing tickets by hand. Part of our system being down means that I can't run any gift cards as the balance won't show on any of them. I've had people tell me, Just write the numbers down and run it tomorrow. But it could be zeroed out or not have the funds. I'm in the middle of sprinting for all-night happy hour, and I get another table of 4. Super chill, they ask for separate checks, and everything's good until they hand me the gift cards. I let them know that our system has crashed, and unfortunately I cannot take their gift cards on this visit, and I'll need another form of payment. I start to walk away as I don't want to stand there awkwardly as they get their cards to pay. And one of the guys, roughly 60, says the same line,
Just write the numbers down and run it when you can.
I let him know that I can't verify any funds on the card. He then proceeds to stand up, get in my face and tells me to
figure it out.
I'm very sorry, sir, but unfortunately there is nothing I can do with the gift cards on this visit. Our system should be running again by Friday, and you'll be able to use it then.
I know there's something you can do. Just go ahead and run the damn card.
Of course, sir. I go run the card, and it comes back as unverified, and I print the receipt so he can see.
This is unbelievable. Get your manager over here now.
By this time, the whole section has their heads turned, and they apologize to me for this man. I fill in my manager, and he heads over. I'm working on my nearby tables, listening in, as he's just a fill-in manager, and I'm an ex-full-time manager for the company. They question him on if he's even in charge of the restaurant, and then say they don't believe him. The man starts questioning what would happen if he just leaves without paying. Without hesitation, my manager says, I'll call the police. So they put their cards in and paid their bills. All this over 2 tabs of $19.40 and $24.61. I get that they had paid for their gift cards already, and I understand the frustration. But I work for a big company-owned restaurant chain. There's nothing we could do. We 100% would have made comps if he wasn't screaming in our faces. I love serving, but these last 4 days have been absolute hell. End of rant. Thanks for letting me vent. 5. So I just picked up a second job doing lunches at this long-standing and privately owned fine dining restaurant. What attracted me to it is the fact that it's only 3-hour shifts with an average takeaway of $100 to $150 a shift. Not bad for lunch. And I have my evenings clear to work on my personal craft or pick up a dinner shift or two at my other job that I've been at for over a year now if need be. However, I'm starting to realize the new job comes with a lot more baggage than I anticipated. Off the bat, I've had to hold my ground about only being available as the lunch guy, as the owner and manager were frequently trying to pressure me to work doubles as he is very short-staffed. Finally, he's gotten the picture and has stopped asking me, after he threw a fit and complained how nobody wants to work anymore. He complains quite a bit that he can't find enough staff, let alone servers. But homeboy doesn't even know what Indeed is, but nonetheless I digress. Anyways, I'm almost 3 weeks in now and I'm still in training, which is the longest training I've ever experienced. Not only is it the longest training, but the training itself has been very hollow. Most of the time, the server is just asking me to do things to help him out like support staff, while showing me where everything is. Usually, this would be all the training I need and could piece the rest together to fake it till I make it. But then there's the micromanagement variable. As I mentioned, the manager is the owner, or rather co-owning, along with his brother who's the chef. Long story short, the owner-manager is constantly on the floor and is extremely OCD. I know it's fine dining, but do you really need to tell me to hold the tray with my thumb holding down the base of the glass? I've been holding my trays the same way in fine dining for 10 years. Anyways, on top of that, the restaurant is extremely disorganized, both structurally and physically, as they're expecting me to be acclaimed and have everything already down after a couple weeks. As the lunch server, I also have to answer phones, take care of takeout orders, do the desserts, run our food, and bus our tables. Lunches aren't super easy, but I get to keep all the dough. I don't know about anybody else, but I learn the most just by jumping into it and developing my own personal rhythm. I am exasperated already by being stuck in training still with this stress ball of an owner and manager big brother. Sorry for the rant, but am I being spoiled for 3 hours of work with decent pay? Should I bite the bullet and suck it up, or are there greener pastures of lunch shifts beyond the rainbow? Owner already said he doesn't know if it will work out earlier, but I think he's just saying that to get me to try harder, and knows that ultimately, if I make the right pitch, the shifts are waiting for me. It is worth mentioning that at my other job it is much less stressful, which is why I question also if I'm just spoiled by it. We have expo and food runners, great bussers, great manager hostesses to handle takeout orders, and a fully staffed kitchen that absolutely slays it and works like an atomic clock. Most of the time. Hence why I worry I may be settling for the wrong lunch spot. Everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 185. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please hit the like button and share the video with a friend or family member. Right, it's the weekend. Woo. Or woo for some. Neutral for others. Anyway, as this is a weekend, as was originally uploaded, I will be doing a stream of some kind tonight. Not sure what. Possibly either Sherlock Holmes or Phasmo. Been a few weeks since Sherlock Holmes, so we'll see who it's about. We'll see what mood we're all in. Right, now let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, if you could swap one character from fiction and put them into another story, another fictional world, which world would it be? And why? I would like to take Sherlock Holmes, just any version of Sherlock, so let's say the original Sherlock Holmes from the stories, as written by Doyle. I take him, pluck him out of there, and drop him into the Babylon 5 universe. Just as Sherlock Holmes, he's living on the Babylon 5 station, Perhaps he's helping out security now and again because he's still a consulting detective, and he's just involved with the show, helping with investigations, and wrapping them up in 5 minutes in most cases. And the reason I picked that over, not say like Star Trek, another sci-fi show, is because I feel Babylon 5 offers enough intrigue, it offers enough similarity of enough comparable human nature versus the original Holmes stories, where even although many of the characters are aliens, they're still very recognizable from a human perspective. And I think Holmes would do very well interacting with those people. I look forward to seeing what you folks pick, so please leave your answers in a comment below. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.